My name is Virginia Kurschinske. I live in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and had a case of employment discrimination against my employer. And I am a victim of judicial corruption and corruption in the legal system. I have spent the last 7 years in litigation to prove my case of employment discrimination and harassment, and trying to collect the damages I was awarded. A jury in a federal court recognized my claims were valid and awarded me damages, costs, and attorney fees. After suffering abuses, harassment, years of litigation, and loss of employment, only a fraction of the federal judgment was paid. As the prevailing party, I was awarded attorney fees and costs, and had a judgment entered in my favor. That judgment has effectively been stolen from me, and the federal trial court and the appellate court have allowed it to happen and refused to do anything about it. I want to tell my story to Congress through Lawless America to notify the government and the people of the consequences of a decaying American system of justice. I endured years of employer abuse and discrimination that required over 7 years of unemployment, EEOC, state, and federal court litigation, and the appeal. The jury in a federal gender discrimination suit that was tried on the merits in a United States District Court determined that I proved my case of employment discrimination and was entitled to a money judgment. The jury recognized the employer had subjected me to many ugly forms of sexual harassment, including forced exposure to pornographic material openly displayed in the workplace, sexual threats, which were gross and physical in nature, dangerous and expensive sabotage of my work equipment and my car that put me in danger of serious physical injury and placed me in life-threatening positions. The jury verdict did not compensate me for all of my financial losses, and my attorney did not fight for me on all of my claims. But I was satisfied at least that my principal had been vindicated. After the jury declared me the winner on the merits in my lawsuit, the federal judge awarded money damages to me which arose from the jury's verdict for attorney fees and costs. That was, of course, in my favor. When I attempted to exercise the judgment on the merits against the party responsible for the damage, Meadville Forging Company, MF, the verdict of a federal jury court was taken away from me by my former lawyer, who had quit my case after the trial. The federal judge who had issued a final order awarding me the money judgment only had jurisdiction to enforce this money judgment. The judge had no authority to reopen the case. There was no legal grounds to interfere with the jury verdict and no jurisdiction to approve or grant a motion from MF to stop execution of the writ. The former attorney had no standing to appear in federal court in this case. The presence of any person that lacked standing in these court proceedings was obstructing justice. The judge had no power or jurisdiction to undo a final order which had never been appealed by the loser in the case. Only a federal appeals court could review or change the final order. The losing party submitted a motion which represented that a state court could review, undo, and revise the federal judge's final order, and that the state court could award the federal judgment to a lawyer who was not a party to the gender discrimination case, and by so doing, make sure Meadville Forge had never had to pay me in person or had to endure their abuse, and who had proved the truth of my claims that federal discrimination law was grossly and deliberately violated in the workplace. The federal judge knew that the writ of execution was never satisfied because he killed the writ. He knew the MF did not pay the award to me by the jury which founded that Meadville was guilty of serious and unlawful sexual harassment in the workplace. The court record verifies these rulings and actions that were taken so effectively steal a court judgment in federal court with the disciplinary, criminal, and federal authorities endorsing these violations of the law. The entire thing was orchestrated by my very own attorney, and I have not been left to fight all of this on my own. I have been left, to fight this all on my own. Federal law has determined by the U.S. Supreme Court holds explicitly that attorney fees and money judgments go to the verdict winner. A federal judge cannot surrender jurisdiction after a final order is written to a state court, which then interferes with the federal award of attorney fees to me as the prevailing party. I am not sure of exactly what all of the connections are that allowed this to happen, but the attorneys and the state court should be investigated for their obstruction of justice. I fought for all those years knowing I was right and having everyone tell me I was wrong. I finally, after all those emotionally upsetting years and years of going through courts, fighting to prove that my rights were violated by my employer in very disturbing ways and causing me severe financial hardship, had a jury vindicate me and awarded me damage, then my attorney and the courts themselves subjected me to an abuse that I never could have imagined when I first went into court. I trusted my attorney and trusted the courts, and they trampled my rights with impunity and caused me to question everything I ever believed about our country and its courts. I hope that my case is investigated along with all the others that are being told as part of the Lawless America movie, and that Congress enacts reforms to our system of justice so these type of abuses aren't allowed to continue.